Sweat trickled down my temple. My heart pounded like a drum in my chest. This wasn't a jungle chase, not this time. This challenge was different, more terrifying in a way. I was about to face 30 days without technology. No phone, no GPS, no connection to the digital world that had become my lifeline. Just me, myself, and the primal instinct to survive. Could I handle it? The thought sent shivers down my spine. I was used to pushing my limits in the wild, facing down predators and scaling treacherous cliffs. But this was uncharted territory, a digital detox of epic proportions. The rules were simple, yet daunting. No phone calls, no internet, no social media, complete digital darkness. This was my Everest. Why subject myself to this digital torture? It was a question that gnawed at me as I prepared for the challenge. The answer, I realized, was simple yet profound. I wanted to feel alive again, truly alive. Technology, for all its marvels, had woven a web of distraction around me. I was connected, yet strangely detached. My senses dulled by the constant barrage of information, the endless scroll of social media, the blue light glow of my devices. I yearned for the simplicity of a life less plugged in. To feel the weight of silence, to listen to the whispers of the wind, to engage with the world through senses unfiltered by technology. This was my chance to reclaim my primal essence, to reconnect with the wild within. The days leading up to the digital detox were a blur of preparation. I informed my family and friends, their reactions a mixture of amusement and concern. They knew I was known for crazy adventures, but this one seemed to take the cake. I packed my backpack with the essentials, a map and compass for navigation, a notebook and pen for journaling, and a few survival tools. No phone, no laptop, no gadgets, no temptations. As I stood at the edge of the digital abyss, a wave of apprehension washed over me. What had I gotten myself into? The digital world, despite its flaws, had become so ingrained in my life. It was both my shield and my crutch. Taking a deep breath, I switched off my phone, the silence deafening. It was time to face the unknown. This was my wilderness now, a digital desert stretching out before me. The first rays of dawn sliced through the trees. A new day. Day one. My hand instinctively reached for my phone, the phantom vibration a cruel trick of my tech-dependent mind. It was gone. I was alone, truly alone. Silence. Not the peaceful kind you find in nature. This was the unsettling quiet of a world stripped bare, the constant digital hum replaced by a deafening void. My senses, starved for stimulation, went into overdrive. Every rustle of leaves, every chirp of a bird, felt amplified, overwhelming. My phone had become an extension of myself, and now, I felt like I was missing a limb. Days blurred into each other. The silence, once deafening, now whispered sinister things. Doubts crept in like venomous snakes. Was I crazy for doing this? Was I punishing myself for a crime I didn't understand? I missed my loved ones, the sound of their voices, the comfort of their virtual presence. I yearned for a simple text message, a brief connection to the outside world. The isolation was a physical sensation, a weight pressing down on my chest. The fear of missing out, the FOMO, was a relentless tormentor. What were my friends doing? What was happening in the world? The questions swirled in my mind unanswered, amplified by the silence. I felt a surge of anger. I stumbled upon a group of hikers, their faces illuminated by the screens of their phones. They looked like aliens to me, these creatures tethered to their devices, their attention consumed by the digital glow. A pang of envy shot through me. I craved that connection, that escape from the confines of my own mind. But I knew it was a fleeting illusion, a digital mirage that evaporated upon closer inspection. The encounter was a stark reminder of my isolation. I was a ghost in a world obsessed with connectivity, a digital outcast wandering the wilderness of my own making. Survival, stripped bare of technology, was a whole new beast. Finding food, once a simple online order away, became a primal hunt. I foraged for berries, their sweetness a meager reward for the hours spent searching. My hands, used to the smooth surface of my smartphone, grew rough and calloused. I built fires with flint and steel, the smoke stinging my eyes, a constant reminder of my vulnerability. Every drop of water, every morsel of food, was a hard-won victory. Navigating without GPS was a humbling experience. I relied on the sun, the stars, the ancient art of reading the land. My senses, dulled by years of digital dependence, slowly began to sharpen. One day, I lost my way. The map, my only guide, slipped from my grasp and was swept away by a raging river. Panic, cold and sharp, pierced through me. I was truly alone, lost in the wilderness, my lifeline to civilization severed. Despair threatened to consume me, but I fought back. I remembered my training, the survival instincts honed over years of battling the elements. I built a makeshift shelter, the forest floor my unforgiving bed. As darkness fell, I stared up at the star-studded sky. A strange sense of calm washed over me. I was lost, yes, but I was also found. Days later, weary and hungry, I stumbled upon a remote village. The villagers, their faces etched with curiosity and concern, welcomed me with open arms. They shared their meager food and offered me shelter. Communication was a challenge, a mix of gestures and broken phrases. Yet we understood each other. The language of human kindness transcended words, a universal language spoken through acts of compassion and empathy. They didn't have smartphones or Wi-Fi, yet they possessed a richness of connection that I envied. Their generosity, their simple way of life was a revelation. As I continued my journey, the wilderness slowly worked its magic on me. The silence, once a source of torment, became a space for reflection. I listened to the wind whispering through the trees, the babbling brooks, the symphony of nature playing out around me. I started to notice the beauty in the smallest details, the intricate patterns of a spider's web, the vibrant colors of wildflowers, the dance of fireflies in the twilight. My senses, awakened from their digital slumber, reveled in the richness of the natural world. The digital detox, I realized, was more than just a challenge. It was a process of healing, a stripping away of the layers of digital noise that had muffled my senses and dulled my spirit. The third week began to feel like a fever dream. The line between reality and imagination blurred. Was I a modern-day Thoreau, finding solace in solitude, or was I slowly losing my grip on the world I knew? I started seeing phantom notifications in the corner of my eye, hearing the ghost ring of my absent phone. My fingers twitched, reaching for a device that wasn't there. Was I going mad? The digital world, once so tangible, now felt like a distant memory, a parallel universe I could no longer access. I was adrift in a sea of silence, the waves of loneliness crashing over me with unrelenting force. One evening I stumbled upon a deserted cabin, a relic of civilization in the heart of the wilderness. Inside, a dusty radio, its battery long dead. It was a painful reminder of the world I had left behind, a world of instant communication, endless entertainment, and the comforting illusion of being connected. I picked up the radio, its weight strangely comforting. I imagined the voices it once carried, the news, the music, the chatter of a world that seemed both close and impossibly far away. The encounter shook me. It was a stark realization that my journey wasn't just about escaping technology, it was about confronting the void it had left in my life. The temptation to quit gnawed at me, to seek out the nearest town, find a phone, and reconnect with the digital world. Just a quick call, a quick check-in, a quick fix to silence the screaming silence. I imagined the relief of hearing a familiar voice, the comfort of seeing updates from loved ones, the escape from the relentless grip of solitude. The digital world beckoned, a siren song promising comfort and connection. But deep down, I knew that giving in would be a defeat. As the days turned into weeks, a strange thing happened. I started to adapt. The silence became less deafening, the solitude less oppressive. I found solace in the rhythm of nature, the rising and setting of the sun, the ebb and flow of the tides, the changing seasons of my own internal landscape. I woke up with the dawn, my body attuned to the natural rhythms of day and night. I foraged for food, my senses alert to the subtle signs of nature's bounty. I built shelter, my hands working instinctively, guided by an ancient wisdom. I was surviving, yes, but I was also starting to thrive. The last week arrived like a long-awaited sunrise. A mixture of emotions surged within me, relief, anticipation, and surprisingly, a tinge of regret. I was eager to reconnect with my loved ones, to hear their voices, to share my story. Yet, a part of me wished to linger in the digital wilderness, to savor the hard-won peace, the raw connection with nature, the unfiltered silence that had become my unlikely companion. The thought of returning to the digital cacophony filled me with a sense of dread. As I packed my meager belongings, the weight of the experience settled upon me. I was no longer the same person who had walked into the wilderness a month ago. The digital detox had stripped away more than just my dependence on technology. It had peeled back layers of ego, of insecurity, of the need for constant external validation. The first thing that struck me as I returned to civilization was the noise. It was a cacophony that I had almost forgotten existed. The constant hum of traffic, the blaring of horns and the screeching of brakes, the incessant chatter of people glued to their phones, oblivious to the world around them, the ubiquitous screens flashing their hypnotic glow, drawing eyes like moths to a flame. It was overwhelming, an assault on my senses that sent me reeling. I felt like an outsider in a world I once knew so well. I had almost forgotten what it was like to be constantly bombarded with information, to be in a state of perpetual distraction, to be tethered to devices that demanded my attention at every moment, to navigate a world saturated with technology, where every step seemed to be monitored and every action recorded. Seeing people hunched over their phones, lost in their digital worlds, their faces illuminated by the cold, artificial light, made me realize how disconnected we had become. It filled me with a strange mix of sadness and pity, a longing for a simpler time. I caught my reflection in a shop window, and for a moment, I didn't recognize myself. My hair was longer, wilder, my face tanned and weathered, marked by the elements, my eyes clearer, more alert, as if they had been opened to a new reality. But it was the expression that startled me. It was one of calm and confidence. Gone was the anxious energy, the constant need to be on, to perform, the constant need to be on. In its place, a quiet strength, a sense of calm that seemed to emanate from deep within, a newfound resilience, a sense of calm that seemed to emanate from deep within. The digital detox had changed me both inside and out. The digital detox had changed me both inside and out. The question was, could I hold on to this newfound clarity, this sense of peace? The question was, could I hold on to this newfound clarity, this sense of peace, in a world that seemed determined to pull me back into its digital embrace? In a world that seemed determined to pull me back into its digital embrace, only time would tell if I could maintain this balance. The reunion with my family and friends was a bittersweet symphony of emotions. Hugs were exchanged, stories were shared, laughter filled the air. It was a moment I had longed for, a return to the familiar warmth of those I hold dear. Yet, amidst the joy, there was an undercurrent of something new, something I couldn't quite put my finger on. But something was different. I felt a subtle shift in my interactions, a heightened awareness of their digital habits, the way their eyes would dart to their phones, their attention fragmented, their presence diluted by the constant pull of the virtual world. It was as if an invisible barrier had been erected, one that separated us even as we stood side by side. I found myself struggling to relate to their anxieties, their trivial concerns, their obsession with things that now seemed utterly meaningless. The conversations felt shallow, the connections tenuous. I was an outsider looking in, trying to make sense of a world that had moved on without me. The digital detox had given me a new perspective, a clarity that made it difficult to ignore the pervasive grip of technology on their lives. I had found solace in the simplicity of nature, in the unfiltered beauty of the world around me. It was a stark contrast to the digital noise that now seemed to dominate their existence. I tried to explain what I had learned, the profound sense of peace I had found in the silence, the raw beauty of the natural world, the importance of genuine human connection. I spoke of the joy in simple moments, the depth of real conversations, the fulfillment that comes from being truly present. But my words seemed to fall flat, lost in the digital static that permeated their being. It was as if they couldn't hear me, couldn't understand the language of a world without screens. Their eyes glazed over, their minds elsewhere, tethered to the virtual realm. It was a sobering realization. I couldn't expect them to understand, to suddenly unplug from a world that had become so deeply intertwined with their lives. The digital world was their reality, a reality that I had stepped away from, if only for a while. My journey was mine alone. But perhaps, just perhaps, my experience could plant a seed, a spark of curiosity, a longing for something more than the digital facade. Maybe in time they too would seek the peace I had found, the beauty of a world untainted by the constant hum of technology. "30 days. It seemed like a lifetime ago that I had voluntarily walked into the digital wilderness, my senses overloaded, my soul weary from the constant barrage of the digital age. I emerged, battered but not broken, forever changed by the silence, the solitude, and the raw power of nature's embrace. The digital world, once my constant companion, now felt like a distant echo, a seductive siren calling me back to its shores. I knew I couldn't simply erase technology from my life. It was too deeply embedded in the fabric of modern existence. But I had glimpsed another way, a path less traveled, where connection wasn't measured in likes and shares, but in the depth of human interaction and the raw beauty of the natural world. The challenge, I realized, wasn't about rejecting technology altogether, but about finding a balance, a way to harness its power without surrendering my soul. It was about being present in each moment, whether surrounded by the digital hum of civilization or the serene silence of the wilderness. My journey into the digital detox had been a crucible, a stripping away of the layers to reveal the raw essence of my being. I had faced my digital demons and emerged stronger, more resilient, more connected to myself and the world around me. And in that connection, I found a freedom I had almost forgotten, a freedom that transcended the digital divide and tapped into the primal rhythm of life itself. This journey was not just a retreat from technology, but a pilgrimage towards a deeper understanding of my place in the world. It was about rediscovering the simple joys, the moments of stillness, and the profound connections that can only be found when we step away from the screens and immerse ourselves in the natural world.